They literally gave these very, very vulnerable people that they say they care about a few hours to be thrown out on the streets.
He thought he'd done something wrong. And waking up that first morning with strangers must have been awful.
Both Michael and Lawrence require specialist around-the-clock support. But last month, their families were told their care home Berkeley House in Sittingbourne was being permanently closed down.
12:10, 12:15 that day, we finally got a message, it's closing at 5 today. We could understand if there'd been a fire or a flood or a rat infestation or something. This was a decision by Chief Together to cut and run. You couldn't evict other people from their accommodation in such short time.
Chief Together are absolutely not fit to do it. And our son is in pieces and we're having to gradually piece him back together again.
Following an inspection, Achieve Together say the CQC and local authority partners determined people's needs would be better met in alternative provision, so immediate action was taken to instigate this, which included finding suitable new placements for every single person. However, the CQC told us that it is not the CQC's role to determine where people receive their care, and ITV News Meridian understands inspectors asked Achieve Together to make urgent improvements, but it was the provider's decision to immediately shut the entire site.
I think it's disgraceful. Absolutely.
Jane worked there before the closure. She believes the decision was made to save money. We're not using her real name.
It got to the point where there was one weekend that we'd been asking all week for money and hadn't been given any. We had a few people who wore incontinence pads and we couldn't get any because none of them had any money. We had to call a relative of a staff member who stocked them to get some. We were constantly putting our hands in our own pockets to buy basics like bread and milk because we had no money in the petty cash. All we wanted was the best for them, but we couldn't give them the best because of the facilities we were given.
A spokesperson for Achieve Together told us the provision delivered at Berkeley House fell way below the high standards that the people we support rightly expect and deserve, and that we know we can provide. We wholeheartedly apologise for this. We completely recognise the distress and concern the speed and nature of this closure caused for the people and families involved, and the impact it has subsequently had. They say a thorough investigation is already underway so that lessons can be learnt. But Lawrence's parents, Paul and Kathy, believe their action should stop them from working in the sector ever again.
What's different here is that this is actually the senior management from board level. This is Achieve Together. This is a company that's the third largest care provider in the UK, and they've completely failed the people that they're supposed to be serving.
To me, that just means they should not be doing what they're doing. They should get out of that business. They've no right to actually be with our families who need help.
Berkeley House is now just an empty building. It's locked up, and while there's no sign of life here now, the impacts are still being felt by some of the most vulnerable people in society. Some who are asking whether they had to move out because they'd done something wrong. But it wasn't their fault, yet they will never be truly able to understand or be given an answer as to why their homes were taken from them so suddenly. Joe Caution, ITV News, Sittingbourne.